Oh, we are
Also,
live.
I'm getting old. Older.
But when did you guys graduate?
2015.
2016.
Ah,
Okay, you are now on YouTube, streaming on YouTube.
Yes, we are
So-
live.
Okay.
Are we going to carry on talking, or shall we make a start? What do you want to do, Retty?
Yeah, we can talk, but not the intimate one.
just general chit chat, yeah.
Yes.
Hello to anybody who's on YouTube. Have we got any way of knowing if there's anybody there, Retty?
We have Mr. Paulus Fonto here, and before we have Miss
Vince.
Alvina, I think. Miss Alvina,
Yeah,
but
Vince.
I think she went out already. But the participants are not yet seen. The other participants are not yet here.
Okay. And what about with Zoom? Do we know who's coming on Zoom?
Zoom is just 8 participants at the moment.
Who are
Yeah.
already in the waiting room, or
No,
are
no,
already
No
online?
one
Nobody.
in the waiting room.
Nobody is in the waiting room yet.
My experience of living in Indonesia is that time is flexible.
Yes, correct.
Rubber time.
Karet.
Is it the same thing in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK?
For me, if it's in uni, yes. It's like when I was still in uni, one of the guys just always came in late and just like looks like he just wake up kind of thing.
That is excellent. Was he a New Zealander, or was he from Indonesia?
Yeah, he's a Kiwi.
He's a
So-
Kiwi. Wow.
Yeah,
Laid back.
yeah.
Naomi, have you found things? Are people kind of like prompt in the
Miss Retty, I
aviation
cannot-
industry?
Sorry, Miss Retty. In YouTube,
They're
there's
actually
Oh, yeah. You cannot admit them?
Enggak, in YouTube it's not. There is no live. It's just-
Okay. Yeah, I will check. Already.
Sorry, Naomi, you were saying?
they're actually not even on, they're in time, not only on time. So they're
Okay.
ahead of time. So that's actually really great. Yeah.
But what about in Australia?
If I'm like for teamwork, if with like foreign friends, yeah, we're on time. But if I'm with Indonesian friends, if we're having a meeting at 4 p.m., it will be like 5 p.m. ish.
What about in the UK, Ganya? How are the Brits with that kind of thing? Do they like you to be on time?
yeah, they're really on time. Usually if I come in late about like 5 minutes to class, everybody would just start. Like, well, what? I thought I missed a lot. It's only been 5 minutes. What happened?
Yeah, I can absolutely understand that. Miss Sahori is in the waiting room.
Okay. Okay, it's already 3 minutes after 2:30 actually. Can we just start?
We certainly can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We have already some other participants here.
Yep.
So welcome to our first live streaming from St. John's. I would like to introduce Mr. Daron Stoker, our English teacher, and then we have 5 of our alumni here. I think I'll give the time to Daron. Are we going to start by the PowerPoint, Daron?
Yeah, we're gonna go straight into it. You've got the script there in front of you for the slide
Yes.
changes.
Yes.
All right then. Well, in that case, alumni, thank you for joining. I'll be with you very shortly. We'll just do the slide bits first. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world right now. My name is Daron. I'm from St. John's Senior High School in BSD, Indonesia. Welcome to this, our first live chat from St. John's Catholic School here in BSD. We're really looking forward to introducing our ex-students because they're going to share their experiences of using English in English-speaking countries. But before we start, I'd like to have a look at the rundown for what we're going to do today.
Okay.
Have you got this? We can go to slide 2.
Yeah. Yeah, we are going to share it first. Sorry.
That's okay. It's what do they call that in cinema terms? When you give up the movie too early.
Sorry. So, okay, we are going to the rundown for today.
Can you click the present so that we can't see all the slides?
I'm already, yeah, wait. Okay, can you
Excellent.
see it, Paul?
Yeah, can see it. Can everybody else see it?
Yeah.
If you're on YouTube, just shout very loudly. If you're in Karawaci, I'll hear you. Okay, we can go to slide 2, Retty.
Yeah. Why it's hang? Okay. Have you seen it?
I'm back. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Has it all gone dark?
Yeah,
I
you're
don't know why
becoming.
I don't know why my screen's dark.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll brighten up. Okay, let's move on. The rundown for today. Can we go back one slide, please?
We go back.
One slide, yeah. So the rundown for today, we're going to explain the rules. Then we're going to talk about the subject, which is understanding English in the context of school lessons, the core subject of English, versus actually using English in the real world with native speakers. Then we're going to reintroduce the panel, our alumni students who are going to help us with their experiences of using English. And then we'd like to open it up to you, the audience, to send in your questions for the alumni to answer. Today is not about teachers telling you what it's like. Today is hearing from real people who've got some real experiences. Finally, we're going to summarize what we've heard, do the wrap up and say thank you. As for the rules for today, everybody's going to be muted with the exception of the alumni during the panel discussion. After that, viewers will be able to share their questions either by typing their questions in, or if you want to come on visually and give us your question, and the panel will answer your question. And then the questions are to be submitted in a chat format to be read by the host. Okay, before we start, I'd just like to do a quick poll of all of the people who are currently watching this live chat. I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and you'll have an opportunity on the screen to click yes, no, or one of the choices. So you should be able to see on your screen now. Question number 1, are you confident with your ability in English? If it's yes, click yes. If it's no, click no. I think some people might be struggling to use it because we've currently got no answers.
Yeah. Actually, can you use it? No?
Let me see if I can use it. No, I'm trying to click on it and it's not letting me click.
Oh.
Ah, it has now. Oh, somebody's answered, but not me.
Yeah, that's nice. Actually, only 2 out of 8 voted. Our participants are not coming yet. Only 2, I think, 2 or 3 participants. Should I end the poll? Should I end it now?
No. There's only 4 answers on there. Can we just kind of like give it a couple of seconds? I get the feeling that the 4 answers might be the alumni.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's interesting, isn't it? The 4 out of 4 people are often using English. That's good. Does a lack of confidence or a fear of making mistakes stop you from using English? 75% say no, it doesn't, which is also good to hear. Interesting, we've got a split on which is more important, grammar or vocabulary. Perhaps we'll get the opportunity to discuss that a little bit later with the alumni. Are you confident with your ability? Look at that, some really good confidence out there. Perhaps those 4 people are the very confident ones. Perhaps the people who are less confident don't want to answer that question. Okay, we can end that, Reti.
Okay.
And can we go back to slide 4? I have no idea why my screen is so dark. Okay, great. Let me just clear that away. Many people learn and study English to some degree all around the world. The reasons for that are varied. It might be for academic purposes, for school or for college, or it might be that you've got a friend who uses English, so you want to use English socially. For some people, it might be knowing how to use online games or social media. But whatever the reason, many people find the difference between studying English in school and actually using English in real life, perhaps a little bit intimidating sometimes. For example, English is an idiomatic language. That means that it uses a lot of picturesque language to say what we're trying to say. I'm going to give you an example. Hypothetically, it might not be true, but hypothetically, I want you to imagine that you don't know this idiom that I'm going to share with you on the screen. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. We've got some notes that go with this. So this is what we call an idiom. And this is where the individual words have a different meaning from the words when we put them together into this block of language. Actually, this has a different meaning from the individual words. Can you think of any confusing idioms or confusing English that you know of? If you can, please share it in the chat, and Miss Reti or Miss Tika will collate that, and we'll use some of it a bit later on. We'll read them out. If you understand English, you know that the sentence is talking about value because the word worth has the same meaning. You can also see a comparison. You know that somebody has got a bird in their hand. And you also know that there are 2 other birds somewhere in a bush. But if you don't understand English and you've perhaps only caught 1 or 2 key words, you might now be really confused. What we don't know from the sentence is the context. All we've got is this man, why is he holding a bird in his hand? We've got 2 other birds in a small tree somewhere. I don't really get the connection. Let's put some context onto this, and I'll show you it in the form of a conversation, between Andrea and Brian. Andrea says, "Hey, what's up, Brian?" Brian says, "I can't believe it. Joanne's dumped me." What? Why? Probably because she found out I was seeing Karen. Oh, well, Brian, a bird in the hand. Your initial questions might be, why is Brian confused? What does the word dumped mean? What can we read into Andrea's initial response of, what? Why is Andrea laughing? This sounds like a fairly deep and problematic situation. Also, why didn't Andrea say the full idiom? Why did she only give us, well, a bird in the hand, Brian? I want you to imagine that you're an Indonesian student studying in an English-speaking country, or perhaps you're a tourist visiting some friends in an English-speaking country. Perhaps you're sat next to Brian and Andrea as they have this conversation. You might not understand it, so you're unable to actually join in. Because you don't understand, you have to wait. Click.
It's not that me.
It's okay. Because you don't understand, you have to wait to ask Brian and Andrea what they're talking about. Even worse, this is quite a personal conversation. If you ask the wrong question in the wrong way, you might risk losing Brian and Andrea as friends. So what do you do? Do you laugh along with Andrea and take her side? Do you maybe try to make Brian feel a bit better over the loss of his girlfriend? Maybe you do both. Maybe you do neither. What's the etiquette in the situation? In actual English, the verb to dump is linked with garbage, removing garbage. But in this slang context, it means that your boyfriend or girlfriend has broken up with you. Brian might be confused as to how Joanne even found out about his relationship with Karen. Andrea says, what? And that elongated rising means that it's new information. She's not heard this before. The falling, why, might even suggest sympathy. The laughter, well, it depends how close your friends are and how well you know them. But this could even be a humorous situation to one or more people in the conversation. The use of only half the idiom is because English uses lots of idioms. Most people know them. And by saying half of it, you already know what the second half is going to be. This is an example of a structure where the grammar isn't as important as actually knowing the vocabulary and the meaning of the block of language is. Can we give it in a context? So what this actually means is that it's better to keep what you have than risk losing it by gambling for something that's even better. Another example is Bill has offered to buy my car for $3,000. Somebody else might pay more. Do I wait and see if I can get more? Or do I take the 3,000? Because potentially I might get less than the 3,000. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. That's the end of the context for this. Let's meet the panel. Can I introduce in the top left of your screen, Edbert. Hi, Edbert, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Can you tell everybody where you live and what you do there?
Currently, I'm living in Sydney, Australia. I've been living here for 4 years and I'm currently working here. So yeah.
What do you do for a job, Edbert?
Yep, I'm currently doing IT support or / system admin engineering. And I've been working for almost a year now.
Okay, that's great. Hi, Stevie, how are you?
Oh, Steffi is still mute. Sorry, I will unmute.
Hi, Steffi, how are you?
It's not working.
Wow, that is a serious echo. Steffi, I didn't realize that you were in the Grand Canyon. Okay, let's move on. Steffi, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Prilly, hi. Can you tell us where you are and what you do there?
Oh, sorry.
I think Prilly is muted.
Yeah, Prilly is still muted.
It's okay. This is new technology to all of us.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear
Hi,
me now?
Prilly. Can you tell us where you are and what you do there?
So I'm in Auckland, New Zealand, and I'm a sound engineer, sound designer for a gaming company.
That sounds awesome. What made you choose that?
Why did I choose that? Just because I like sound design. I like making
great.
sound effects.
Okay, cool. Ganya, hi Ganya. Can you tell us where you are and what you're doing there?
I'm currently in the UK and I'm studying maths and data analytics.
And how long have you been over there in the UK?
It's been 2 years.
Okay, great stuff. Naomi, finally, let's come to you. What are you doing where you are and where are you?
So I live just 6 hours away from Prilly, so I'm in New Zealand, and I'm a flight instructor. So I started working 2 years ago, and yeah.
Did you have to fly yourself first before you became an instructor?
Oh yeah, I have to. So I did my training for about 2.5 years, and then continue working straight after.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Stevie, how's that audio doing with Stevie? Has it got a bit better or are we still echoing?
So I'm just using my phone as the microphone.
Stevie, that's great. Can hear you very clearly, perfectly. How are you today?
Okay, that's good. So, yeah, so I'm using 2 phones. That's fine.
I don't know what that, even imagine that looks like. I'm sure that Edbert can give us the IT solution for it.
Okay.
2 phones. Yeah, I think someone is using
So
that in my
I'm
company.
introducing myself, or
Stevie, where are you and how long have you been there and what are you doing there?
okay, so right now I'm in Corvallis. It's in Oregon, in the US. I'm a upcoming senior in civil engineering. So I'm still a student.
Okay, sorry, and how long have you been there?
It's been 3 years.
Wow. And if you don't mind me saying, you sound like you've got a little bit of an American accent.
Really? I don't know.
I don't know if anybody else can hear that or if it's just my ear.
Yeah.
It's amazing how quickly we adapt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask our 5 wonderful alumni who've very graciously joined us for this. I'm going to ask you some questions. What I'll do is I'll ask each of you a question individually, but once that person's finished, can I ask the other 4 alumni to feel free to join in with their own perspective, with their own observations on the question. So my first question, let's start with Naomi. What did you find most difficult about learning English at school?
So because the most difficult thing learning English at school is you talk English to teachers, but you don't really practice it to your friend. And then you normally talk in a kind of formal way to your teacher. So it's not like your daily sentence. It's not your daily talks. So that's the thing that I kind of find it hard. So when you actually meet, native speaker, where you actually speak daily, that's a huge difference when you're talking to your students. So that's what I found.
An intimidating difference?
Kind of, because I wasn't that confident before. So it's quite hard for me to actually speak out, but it gets easier by times.
Okay. The other four alumni, please feel free to share your own experiences of what you found most difficult about learning English at school.
I would say it's the essays, writing, learning the grammars and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Why did you find that the most difficult?
Just because like I enjoy English conversation classes so much. I'm more confident in speaking, like talking to each other kind of thing. But when you have to write things, that's when like your teachers will mark your grammars and stuff. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I've heard it said that people write badly in their first language, so having to write a lot in your second language is difficult.
Yeah, I agree.
Edbert, how about you? What was your experience at school? What did you find most difficult?
Yeah, I think I would agree with Naomi's idea because we talk in English to teachers and staff using formal. And when we came here studying abroad, and we found out that grammar is not that heavily paid attention to, just like we just talk naturally, and yeah, that can be quite a different for me. But I think studying English back then was fun, and yeah,
you
it
found it
gave me a
fun?
lot of fun. Yeah, especially, but not the grammar thing.
So you like the using English, but not the structural, the grammar structure. Yeah. How about you, Stevie? What did you enjoy most about? What did you find most difficult about learning English at school?
I feel like academic writing is the hardest part for me because like you gotta get everything right. Like for the conversation stuff, it's just like just say what you want. People doesn't really care, but like the mistakes you did, so it's all good.
So do you mean like academic writing for things like IELTS or TOEFL?
No, basically like in everything, like essays and then like technical writing or reports, basically anything like formal.
Yeah. Ganya, how about you? What did you find most difficult about learning English at school?
I would have to agree. It would be the essays, because you know what you want to say, but because you're not allowed to use certain phrases or words, you have to like think around your normal conversational language. You have to come up with like a sophisticated way of conveying your idea.
Yeah. Okay. Ganya, while I've got you on, let me ask you the second question. What made you choose to study in an English-speaking country?
One of the things would be that I don't have to learn another language, because I've been studying English for almost throughout all of my life, actually. So I don't have to waste a few months studying a new language before going into uni. So that's the main reason. Plus also because why I chose the UK is I like their culture, and I hope to like absorb some of that culture in my uni days and throughout my life.
Who else wants to join in with that question? Why did you choose where you live?
I think other than...
Oh, sorry, Naomi.
Sorry.
Naomi, thank you.
Yeah. I think other than that's the only language, it's also because English use the alphabet, same like Indonesia. Like we use A, B, C, so it's easier to pronounce. It's easier to, even though you don't know what it's pronounced before, it's easier for you to read, because other languages, they have their own letters. I mean, it's good, but you need to learn something new. So yeah. But English better.
Okay.
I think for
Brilliant,
me,
I can see you nodding. Brilliant, I see you nodding.
I think for me, I'm choosing to learn in an English speaking country is because that's what I've learned in school during the 12 years of school kind of thing. And the second is because of the major that I'm taking, mostly because of the uni, and then because that I already learned it in high school. And yeah, that's me.
Edbert, anything you want to share there?
Yep, and to add on to that as well, maybe because we use English mainly for our learning language in schools and stuff, and because we're living in like English-speaking countries, we can also get the faced by cultures like from every different countries. Like I don't have friends from Australia, but I can have friends like from Hong Kong, China, and we can learn other cultures and their foods, and basically English. I think English-speaking countries will gather them around in a place so we can get to know everyone from around the world.
Stevie, anything that you'd like to add?
Additional to all of that, I feel like English is very universal. So everywhere you go, there's always someone who can speak English. So it's gonna be easier for us. And also maybe because I picked like in the US because I wanna boost my networking with people. Like because they get like a lot of connections and they get also like involved to many other countries.
Yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned cultural. This question isn't one of the 5 questions, but I think it's a good opportunity. What are the big cultural differences that you've noticed from moving to another country? What things do you miss from back at home? Stevie, since you're on, we'll start with you.
Cultural wise, I feel like they're really friendly. Like I'm not saying that Indonesia is not friendly. It's just like different way of friendly, I guess.
Can you give an example?
So for example, like I'm not really sure. But
No, that's
I
okay.
gotta
This
think
is an
about it
on-the-spot
first.
question, I understand.
Yeah, I gotta think about it first.
Okay, Edbert, anything you want to come in with culturally different? Because you also mentioned cultural differences.
Yep. So for me, the most noticeable thing that I found out was like ordering foods in restaurant. In Australia, we're like, how are you doing first? How are you doing, mate? But if in Indonesia, we just like, can I get this one directly without asking the person how is it going for them?
Why do you think that is? Is it
I
because
think
the occupation is more professionalized?
I would say because maybe it's like their habits, asking people how is it going for them and how's the day, and before starting to conversate in like what are you going to order or stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's more like a habit.
So the people here are really polite. I'm sure you've heard of that before. Brits are really polite.
Do you think they mean it? Do you think they're polite, and do you think they're really sincere, or do you think it's kind of a superficial politeness?
No, I think they're really polite, because I've also met some who are kind of rude. Not to be harsh, but it is what it is. And also another thing on like the difference between learning English in school and speaking with native speakers is that they have slangs which we may not learn in school. So a few times I've been confused by what they mean by certain things.
Do you think that it's important then that we kind of teach that real language at school while you guys are in perhaps say senior high school?
Yeah, I would say so, but it's also a good learning curve to experience that on your own with native speakers.
So kind of be exposed to it at school, but actually go and visit the country and hear it being used.
Yeah.
Yeah. Naomi? Culturally, things that you miss, things that you find different?
Accent.
Sorry, really? What? Accent?
Is it me?
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Nah, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about the accents, Naomi?
Naomi, did you say accent? I thought I heard it come from a different angle. Naomi, if you said accents, please tell us about it.
Really?
No, I didn't say accent.
No, that I said it. Just because we're in the same country.
More I got from New Zealand. Yeah, really might thought it's accent, but for me it's more like they didn't call like Miss or Mister to an older person that they just met, or like to teachers, which it's kind of, we don't do that in Indonesia. Like every time you meet your teachers, we will say like, good morning, miss, good morning, mister, or, but we don't really say that in, we didn't say using miss or mister in New Zealand. We call them by name, like Daron.
Is that because it was in university? Do you think it would be the same thing in junior high school, senior high school?
I think so. I think so.
Who was the
They
principal
always
when
call
you
by
were?
name.
Who was the principal when you were at St. John's in senior high school?
Miss Alvina.
Could you imagine going up to Miss Alvina, giving her a high five and saying, "Hey,
Yeah,
Alvina"?
exactly. I can't do that. Like, yeah.
That might be a bit unusual, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Like it's not polite, but it feels okay in New Zealand. So.
So have you acclimatized? Are you now more relaxed when you talk to older people?
In New Zealand, yeah, but going back to Indonesia, I still call them by Miss or Mister.
Okay.
Still doesn't change, yeah.
Prilly, any cultural things that you miss from Indonesia or that you find really different in New Zealand?
I miss a lot of things in Indonesia, but just like all of us. But what I found really different in here is I'm thinking back of when I started uni, as how we all have like crazy different slangs, and they talk really fast as well. So I think that's the biggest cultural shock to me.
How did you adapt to that?
I just do it. I just go for it.
So
like if I'm confused, I ask them like, what do you mean with that? What does mean, man? I'm not mean. I'm showing you something. Apparently mean is, it's mean means cool, well, that's mean. Something like that.
Fantastic observation. I guess that you've all experienced that in the countries that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that silence as a yes.
Yes.
Excellent, great. Who haven't I thrown a question at first? Naomi, perhaps question number 3 can be for you. Tell me about a time when you were in a conversation with a native speaker and you were either confused or you struggled to understand the conversation.
This actually happened recently, like a couple of days ago. So when we were back working, so New Zealand has been in lockdown for like the past 6 weeks, and since this week, starting Monday, we're going back to normal. So it's quite a huge difference working from home and then working in place, and it started flying. So that sort of like drained my energy quite a bit. So I felt tired and then exhausted. And after work, my friend actually asked me for dinner, and then we went out for dinner. We sat down, and he's like, "Oh, how's yours been doing? Like, how's your week?" And then I was like, "Oh, started working. It was so tiring. We went home, and then I was naked as in so exhausted, not naked." But he took it as a naked, and I was like, no, it wasn't naked. It's naked. Naked meant tired, and he's just, okay, now I get it, because he's not really a native speaker as well. And then apparently the way I pronounce naked sounds like naked. So it's like, oops, sorry, that's not what I meant.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I know. So I don't really know how to pronounce naked today. It was only a couple of days ago, and it's like, oh, sorry, that's not what I meant.
No,
and that was
really cool. Fantastic story.
I was like, oopsie.
Somebody else joined, but something that you experienced in a conversation with a native speaker where you were confused or you found it difficult?
So it was back then in uni when we were like in the last week of teaching, like week 12 or ish, and the lecturer said, don't be sad, it's our last lecture, please be gay. And I thought like, what gay? And I didn't know what gay. I thought like it's the gay sexual thing, but it's the happy, please be happy. That was the first time. Oh, what's gay? Yeah.
So you understood one context of the vocabulary, but there was a second meaning that you weren't sure of.
Yeah, and I asked my local Aussie friend, what did he actually say? And he just explained me about, oh, you didn't know that? It was like a weird situation.
So many words in English have multiple uses. It's very strange. Thanks for that, Edbert. Thank you. Prilly.
Oh, me. When at work, one of my friend, my coworker, just bought a new shoes, and I realized that that's a cool shoes. And then because the shoes is like black and white like chess, and then he was like, "Are you checking it? Are you checking it?" And I was like, yeah. And then apparently he was joking. It's like because it's chess, so you're checking the chess or something. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, yeah.
He made a pun. He was using a play on words. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So do you experience a lot of kind of sarcasm and irony and puns in New Zealand?
Within schoolmates, when I was in uni, yeah, most.
Do you think you'd be able to spot sarcasm in a working context now?
It's a bit harder because you're not that close to them, and some of the people just want to keep the work and friend, alive differently, social life and work life differently. So it took me a while to get it.
Yeah, I bet. Steffi, how about in the States? Have you found a difficulty when you were talking to native speakers?
Most of the time, like vocab wise, it's pretty much the same like what we learn in school, but like the way they use it, like in terms of the context, like in here, like social issues, government issues, since like they're joking or like just talking about it, like the things that I have no idea about, I couldn't just like relate to them. So it's kind of hard.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Because they got like a lot of issues and they just like to talk about it. So I don't really get it. But other than that, it's all fine, I guess.
Is that because they find it more comfortable? They find it easier to talk about politics and news, where people don't do that so much in Indonesia?
I think it is. Like they talk about like LGBTQ, like the gender issues, and then religion, race. I mean, there's a lot of race. There's like black, white, Hispanic, and a lot of others. They like to talk about it, and then they also like to talk about Trump, like, and a lot of stuff. And they feel so comfortable like talking about it. So
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. A great example. Ganya, how about in the UK?
It would definitely be the accents, because some of them are really difficult to understand, like face to face. Like I have friends from Liverpool, and sometimes I don't get half of what they're saying.
So what do you do in that situation? How do you handle that situation?
If I'm in a group environment, I would just stay quiet. But if I'm like talking to them one-on-one, I'd ask them what they meant by the things I said. And it's also different as well based on the region they're from, because my city is nearest to Birmingham, so that's the accent I get most. So the accents are really straightforward, while people from the south would talk more politely, I guess.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's different.
Yeah. Do you have you ever had the need to ask somebody to speak more slowly, to slow down their speech?
Not to slow down necessarily, just because it's how they say the words that confuse me sometimes.
Okay, so it's not the speed; it's actually the sound rather than the speed.
Yeah.
That's
Some people had it more difficult than I did, because they didn't understand at all what the native speaker is saying.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for sharing. Prilly, can I come to you with question number 4? What, in your opinion, are the main differences between learning English in school and using English with native speakers?
Oh, definitely different because I would say learning English in school is more academic. Even like some of the other alumni says, like learning at school, you talk politely in formal ways, but when you're here, when you're already out there, it's more like do it or you never learn. So just gotta have to brave yourself and
Yeah,
talk. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a huge difference.
I get that. Yeah, absolutely. Steffi, what about for you? What are the main differences between learning English in school and using it in the real world?
In school, it's more academic wise for sure. But in a real world, like here, basically you just need to be confident in what you're saying, because like it doesn't matter if you don't have the American accent or like you speak English like not really good. Because like I have a lot of like international friends like from Vietnam, from Korea, Japan and stuff. They have this like special accent, like it's different. It's not like American for sure. But it doesn't really matter because like as long as they get it, they know what you're saying. It doesn't even have to be like the right for like tenses and stuff. As long as you can convey the message you're saying, it's all good.
So which is more important then, vocabulary or grammar?
Um, I guess I would say in like conversation, neither. Because like
So
I know a lot of
for example, if you don't know the word for something that you're talking about, you can't really make yourself understood. But if you get the grammar wrong but the vocabulary right, people still understand.
most of the time, yes.
Yeah. Naomi, I can see you nodding there. Have you got an example?
I don't have an exact example, but it's if you have like thousands of vocabulary and then you're trying to explain the word that you don't know, you don't have to worry about the grammar as long as you can explain it to them, especially if it's like in person, they would understand easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, vocab probably
Yeah.
better for me.
Yeah. Okay. Edbert, have you got an opinion on this?
Yeah, I would say I would agree with Naomi and vocabulary too, because as you said, if people don't understand the grammar, they understand the vocabulary, people will still get the message that they want to say. Yeah, and I think learning in English in school was more like very academical compared to learning by doing in real life.
Okay, so what we're trying not to say here, of course, is don't not study grammar in school. You still need the grammar, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
still
Yeah.
need to, especially writing reports.
Yes.
Don't get
So
this wrong.
Ganya, perhaps, Ganya, if you want to take an IELTS or a TOEFL, which one did you take before you went to the UK?
I took IELTS.
Can you talk us through your experience of the language in that, the need for that?
I'm not pretty sure what you're trying to say.
So, for example, guys have been saying that vocabulary is key, and you can be more relaxed with the grammar in conversation. Is that the same with something like the IELTS test?
Oh, I think the IELTS test has both aspects of conversational English and academic English, because they have several parts to the test. But what I've noticed while studying in the UK is, I don't know if the other online feel this as well, but we as non-native speakers, we study English academically. Well, I think native speakers, well, they also learn English academically. They learn English like I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say as a native speaker.
Yeah. My point is, they also learn about it like in the literature sense. So I would catch them slip up grammar wise once in a while. So it's
So
okay
do you mean because native speakers read more, they understand the grammar by reading more?
Yeah. I think what I'm trying to say is that they don't necessarily memorize the structure of a sentence. They just because they have years and years of practice, they just do it fluently.
Prilly, you're nodding. Do you want to share what that thought is?
Just because in my experience when I was in uni, I'm finishing uni and I'm writing a dissertation. I was writing a dissertation with a like total academic writing stuff. Like for me, even like my classmates who are like native speakings, they born here, they speak English forever, and they found it really hard to just write whatever their ideas into words, into like really good grammars and stuff. They even ask their parents to proofread whatever they write, the essays and stuff, the reports. So I think, yeah, like definitely I don't know whether the others agree or not, but yes, vocabulary is very like we really important, but also in uni, for example, you still need to learn the grammar thingy. That's still important.
I agree. I think as a second language student, you've actually got more understanding of the grammar and the structure than the native speakers, going back to what Ganya, in fact, going back to what everybody else was saying.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, cool. I've got one more question. Who haven't I asked first yet? This is not a volunteer or victim situation. Who haven't I asked first yet? There's no prizes. There's no loss.
I think everybody.
Prilly, let me throw this at you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Who?
Everybody.
Okay, Prilly. What tips or advice would you give to students who struggle with English or lack confidence?
Just go with it. I think without doing it, you wouldn't know what you don't know, and by making mistakes, you would know what you have to fix, what you have to learn more, and just be confident with it.
So make the mistakes, yeah? Make mistakes?
Yeah, do it.
And don't worry about it?
Nah, don't worry about it.
Who's next? Who else wants to throw in? Thank you. Who else is next? Who wants to throw in their tips and suggestions for people?
Yeah,
I heard a male voice.
Yeah. I'm sure you've all heard to be confident and not to be afraid to make mistakes. But if you are sort of shy to speak English in front of others when you're not confident, I think a good thing to do is when you watch a film or movie in English, if the character says a phrase that you don't know, this is what I do sometimes with accents. So if a person with an accent different to mine would say a word or a phrase, I would mouth it to how they would say it, so I know how to pronounce it and use it in conversation.
Without putting you on the spot, could you give me a couple of examples of some different accents?
Oh, I don't think I'm gonna show them here.
That's fine. I don't want to put you on the spot, Ganyan, and I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. That's fine. But I take your point. Who else? Naomi, Edbert, Stevie, any tips and advice for the viewers?
This is what I've done before. I feel like if I try to speak to myself, like just give it a try, and then get used to hearing your voice, like how it sounded like. Somehow it makes you more confident. And then probably just start by like what Ganya said, like you watch a movie, it's in English, and then just put a pause and try to rephrase what the character is saying, and then if that sentence is appropriate, try to use it on your, maybe when you meet your friend. So
that's a great piece of advice.
yeah. So it's only for the start, but you won't realize by the time it will get easier, up to a point you actually forgot that you ever used that as a practice.
As long as the character isn't Donald Duck or, you know, somebody with a very unusual way of
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah. Or as long as the character, will speak appropriately, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
follow Yoda. You get things
Say
mixed
again.
around.
Sorry, Gary, you say that again?
Don't follow Yoda, because you get the words mixed around.
Yoda, yeah.
But that actually, Yoda, some people think is speaking English correctly. It's just that native speakers have decided that this structure is the one that we should use. Perhaps
Oh, is
Yoda's correct.
We
He
never
would
know.
fail his IELTS though.
Yeah.
Edbert, Steffi, what about tips and advice for the viewers?
I would say what I've been doing was like watching TV series and watching movies in English, but I would say turning on the subtitles in English would somehow help, because listening and reading at the same time will somehow make you memorize what is the word that they are saying, and you can memorize and you can understand how they are saying it and how is the pronunciation. So if you want to learn something like British accent, just watch some British movies, British series, and turn the subtitles on so you can remember and practice.
Fantastic advice. I completely and utterly agree with you. I've been learning Bahasa Indonesia by watching The Raid with the subtitles. So but there's not a lot of dialogue in that movie. Steffi, what about you?
So I think that like watching movies and reading books is a good way to like improve your English, but I feel like talking to actual people, like people who are better than you in English, like that really works. So just like embrace that. For example, like here, my English is not that good compared to others. So I just embrace that speaking English is like my second language, is my weakness. And then it's gonna make other people more aware of that, and they're gonna help you out. So it's gonna make you more open.
Do you tell people, look, English isn't my first language. Can you give me some help, or I might make some mistakes? Do you say that to people?
No, of course not. But sometimes they know, and they're just gonna help you out, like complete your sentence or like finding the words what you're gonna say. Because like sometimes just finding the right words to to say something is kind of hard.
Okay.
Yeah, and it takes time.
Thanks for those tips. Has anybody got any other tips, anything else that they found might be really useful to our viewers as far as learning English or using English goes, certainly regarding confidence?
No, not for me. No.
I think like in terms of, I'm sorry. So,
carry on.
I think you can go first.
Okay, I think for in terms of confidence, like when you're talking to native speakers, you're afraid of being judged and like a lot of stuff, like wrong pronunciation and stuff. It's really good to find like other international students that who's like English is better than you, or maybe like first generation students where their parents like immigrant but they're born here, so they're basically a native speaker but with a family background of like international. So
yeah, so their L1 is at home and their L2 is what they've actually grown up with.
Yeah, so actually that's my experience, because like I have a friend who's like a first generation, and he really helps me out with like the culture, speaking English with like native speakers. It helps a lot with confidence.
Do you think that it would be okay for students at school in Indonesia to actually ask their English teachers for help? I know that they're their teacher and they're that little bit more distant, but would it be okay to do that?
I don't really get it.
So if you're a student at, say, junior high school or senior high school in Indonesia, and you've got an English teacher, should you feel more comfortable about actually approaching the teachers and asking for help in speaking English, perhaps just using English with them?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Because like,
yeah, a few of the people are sort of nodding there. Anything that you want to add in there?
Don't forget, we are from St. John, Daron. So everybody will be speaking English, but probably, yeah, probably from other school, from other students, they would be a bit shy to ask teachers.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Well, that's the end of the questions. Did we get any questions from the viewers? Has anybody come on, Reti, that wants to ask a question?
No, only hello. Hi.
Hello. Okay, well, hello to anybody who came on and said hello. You've got access to 5 wonderful people who've got so much knowledge and experience. Feel free to ask them a question. They would love to hear from you. While people are typing their questions or thinking about their questions, shall we do the quiz, Reti?
Okay.
So this quiz is a quiz for the people who are viewing this live chat. You're going to see 5 pictures of idioms. The alumni probably already know all of these, but what I'd like to do is give the viewers a chance to have a guess at what the idioms mean. So if you're watching the live chat, if you're on Zoom or if you're in YouTube Live, and you can see these 5 pictures of idioms, please type in your guess or come on and tell us what it means. So we've got out of bounds in the top, sorry, out of the blue in the top left, down in the dumps, piece of cake, couch potato, and a race against time. Is anybody typing, Reti? Is anybody coming in, or are they all too shy and nervous?
I'm presenting, so probably Mystica can help me. I cannot see. Yeah.
Not yet at the moment. Not yet at the moment.
Stevie, I know that you came in late. Are there any of these idioms that you don't know?
I'm pretty sure I know all of it.
Fantastic. Exactly what I expected. Edbert, what about you? Are there any that you don't know?
You told me the answer already at the beginning of the session.
No, you're not supposed to tell them that. No, you're like the magician who's just shown everybody the trick. It was going so well.
Daron, there is one person asking,
Excellent.
how do you guys manage time while working part-time? From Sharon Richita.
Oh, wait. It's feedbacking.
Sorry, Miss Tika, can you repeat the question, please?
Okay. How do you guys manage time while working part-time?
How do you guys manage your time? Do you work part-time if you're studying, or how do you manage your time?
Yeah. The question is from Sharon Richita.
Thanks
Hello,
for the question, Daron.
So for me, I didn't do any part-time. I do full-time study because I just do it. My parents would like me to focus on my study and not do part-time. Although my local friends do part-time and studying. But
what kind of jobs did they do? What kind of jobs did your friends do while they were studying?
They were doing one of them do receptions, the other do what do you call that, gym, what do you call that, I forgot the word.
You mean
PT, personal trainer.
Yeah.
Yes, PT kind of thing. And some other just do freelance jobs.
Okay. Ganyan, Naomi, Edbert, Stevie, did you do part-time jobs?
Yeah. I worked in a certain retail shop while I was working, while I was studying last semester.
What kind of a retail shop? What were you selling?
Clothes. So I had to work downstairs in the basement and organize the clothes, or I work upstairs in the till as a till staff.
Cool.
But for those of you who don't know, till means the cash register. So there you go. That's a tidbit for you.
Fantastic. Naomi, Edbert, Stevie?
For me, I worked part-time as a peer tutor back then. It was like 3-hour work a day, and basically I was assisting the teacher in the classroom and assisting the students if they have got any question and stuff like that.
Did you have a problem balancing your academic work with the private work?
I wouldn't say so, because it was basically the same thing as I learning, and as it was like only a short period of time, I could still learn after I finished the work, and I could still learn at the weekend.
Naomi, I'm guessing you were doing air taxis, were you? You were ferrying people around in an aeroplane.
Yeah. That's actually over the weekend.
I was
So
joking. You're actually serious. You were
Oh,
working
yeah.
as an air taxi.
Yeah, I thought you were serious, but you're joking.
No, that was pure sarcasm.
I'll take
Pure
that
sarcasm.
seriously. No, it was, I'm bad at taking sarcasm or fun, so, but.
Please share the job of air taxi.
No, it's just so I used to be in Auckland, but then I moved down to Gisborne, and then studying when I live in Gisborne, I have this every Saturday afternoon, like just for an hour or 2-hour flight, drop, and then come back, and then pick them up after 4 to 5 hours. But that's over weekends, so that doesn't distract my full-time job or when I was studying. So.
Okay, great. Steffi, what about you? Steffi, did you? Sorry, Ganya.
If I may add to my answer, because my uni schedule had days off. So, for example, I had Fridays off. I would work on Friday. So that's how I balance my study and my part-time job.
Thanks for sharing.
Okay, there's another question. Do you guys take any scholarships for your studies?
Steffi, can we start with you? Did you get a scholarship for your studies?
Yes, I have one right now. It's like an international scholarship.
How did you find that scholarship? How did you apply for it?
So for that one, I don't really apply for it. They just gave it to me.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't even know how, but like all of a sudden I get the email, the certificate and stuff. They told me they gave me like international provost scholarship, which is pretty good because I don't have to do anything basically.
When you say you don't have to do anything, in what context? You still have to do the work.
Yeah.
When you say you don't have to do anything.
Not at all. I mean, I just enrolled to the university and then they just gave me. Okay. I mean, it's from the transcript though, from high school transcript.
Right.
And also
okay, I get it. Yeah. Anybody else get a scholarship?
I applied for a scholarship on my first year. Usually, if you apply to a university abroad, they give you, or you can look for like some scholarships you can apply for. The one that I did was for ASEAN, so it's an ASEAN scholarship. I didn't get it, but you have to do an interview as well for that. So that's my experience on scholarships.
Have you applied for a scholarship for your second or your third year?
For that specific scholarship, they don't allow you second or third years to get one, only first years.
Okay. Any other questions out there, Miss Tika? Has anybody phoned in with a question?
No, I think it's enough. But before, we just have a question, but it's like very funny question. Do you guys like seafood? Do you guys like seafood?
Seafood?
I think seafood, 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 yeah?
Seafood, yeah. This is like, maybe it's a jokes question or something, but it's already erased it again.
Well, no. I think it's a very good question if you don't want a joke answer. You know,
Oh, I love
but
seafood.
you
I
love
love
it. Anybody allergic to seafood?
Oh, luckily not.
Luckily not. Good for you. Can I just maybe finish off by asking one of those questions related to the poll questions. Have any of you allowed a lack of confidence to stop you using your English?
Basically my freshman year, like my first and second year, I don't talk that much. I don't even sometimes I just shy away from people because I'm trying to avoid actual having a conversation. But as time goes on, it gets better.
Do you regret that, Stevie? Do you wish that you'd actually used English more in your first 2 years?
I mean, yeah, for sure, because we gotta take all the time we can to network with people, and also there's a lot of opportunity in college and university. So
yeah, sure. Anybody else want to share their thoughts? Probably, I see you nodding.
I do, because during the first years, I struggled a lot with the accent and with the actual topic there that we were talking about. It's like a whole new world for me, and I shy away. I was not confident at all, and ended up with me not understanding what actually being taught. So I was like, I wish I'm just being confident and just ask questions and stuff, even to my friends.
As an aside, people are shy. I do accept that, not everybody is extrovert. There are a lot of people who are a little bit shy, and my point, I guess, is that you can still be shy, but if you've taken the choice to go and live in an English-speaking country, you haven't really got a lot else you can do other than use the language, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct.
And the best place to practice that, of course, is in high school before you go to live in that English-speaking country.
Yep.
Miss Retty, is there anything that you'd like to throw in here?
No, are we going to back to the quiz, because we are actually going out of the time? It is already 15 minutes after 3:30, so it's going to be 3:45.
When you say back to the quiz, do you mean the slides?
No, not the idioms that you were given.
That's on the 5 different idioms on the slides.
Yeah. Should I go back?
Well, unfortunately, Edbert explained that they all thought the answers. So we can't have a quiz for the alumni, but has anybody on the viewers, are any of the viewers sharing their thoughts on what the idioms might be?
How about Chelsea? Chelsea, are you there?
Hey, Chelsea, come on and tell us.
Wait, I should unmute her first.
There's another question. Just one more question. Is that okay, Daron?
I think Chelsea is shy.
It's another question. It's just one question from Chelsea. Is that okay? Is that okay, Daron?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys want to stay there all the time, like forever? Or do you have planning to go back to Indonesia and work here?
Let's start with Edbert.
I'm planning to stay here and work here, and I'm thinking of applying for a PR and getting the citizenship, but it's a long way to go. Yeah.
Permanent residency PR, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Stevie, what about in the States?
I'm planning to get work experience stuff here for a few years first before I'm going back. But I want to take as much time as I want here, honestly.
What would you like to do for work experience?
I will do internship and then actual jobs, and I might even take masters.
Okay.
Just to finish up, because once we finish undergrad, bachelor's degree, and then we go to work, and then we gotta adjust again to the school life is kind of hard. So basically, I just thought that maybe it's better to just finish it all up and then go to work. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Naomi, do you plan to stay forever in New Zealand, land of the hobbits?
I wasn't. I was gonna go back this November actually because my work visa expires this November. But then because of this coronavirus came up, the job vacancy for pilot are like closed probably for the next year or a year and a half.
Wow.
And then while I still have my job in here, probably I'll stick around and I might change my mind. So I haven't decided yet.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Ganya, how about in the UK? Do you plan to stay in the UK? You're going to learn to be a Coventry-arian?
I'd love to work in the UK after I graduate. I also love to sorry. I'd also love to apply for a citizenship permit, but that requires you to have lived in the UK for at least 5 years to apply. So if things go well, I would apply for a job, work there 2 years, then apply for the visa. If not, then the work experience would be great all the same.
Good luck. If you need a local reference, my mum lives a little bit further north of Coventry.
Nice to know that.
Prilly, what about you? Do you plan to stay in New Zealand?
Yes, I do, because I already got a full-time job, so might as well stick around. And my job is a bit specific. I don't really think there's any other job field like that in Indonesia.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think we're getting towards a wrap-up point of view. Are there any other questions out there, Reti, Mystika? Anything else that people want to ask our alumni before we let Stevie go to bed because it's late, and everybody else kind of do their day?
No. From YouTube it's already, or it's no.
Okay, well, listen, guys, it has been an absolute pleasure. In case of Stevie and Ganya, to see you guys again. It's obviously been a few years. In Naomi, Edbert, Prilly, it's been wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking part.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Can I wish you all the very best of luck with whatever it is that you do? And certainly in this slightly crazy coronavirus time, I didn't really want to talk about that too much today because it's all in the news and everything. But please stay safe, stay healthy, and please keep in touch. You know, if I can help you in any way at all, it'd be wonderful to hear from you guys. Thank you so much. Miss Reti, Miss Tika. Miss Reti, what you might not know is that Miss Reti organized all of this. She had to learn about it from the beginning, from scratch. Everything that's happened today has well, apart from my light not working, everything is because of Miss Reti. So Miss Reti, my round of applause for you. Well done.
Before we finish it,
and Miss Tika as well, Miss Tika.
Thank you. Before we finish it, please on your camera and then we take a pictures together.
Okay.
Okay. I am on
the iPhone one, and Toto and Henny is not on yet.
I think others are shy.
Okay then. Okay, say bye then. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming to the live chatting. We all wish you good luck for your next.
Yeah, thank you, Miss.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All the viewers and to all the people that are watching on YouTube Live and on Zoom, please stay safe, please stay healthy, and see you soon in school.
Yes, you too.